the first thing you want to do is just trim the best part that you want to rotoscope. So you can see that this video was long and I took this, stored this somewhere. But anyway, you can see that I have trimmed down this part of the video, and this is the only part that I want to rotoscope. So placed in the in point here, and I went ahead and placed in the out point right here. So I have only this part, this section of the video here, and this works the same if you import a video straight from Premiere Pro to After Effects and you want to do some rotoscoping on it. It's the same thing. So what you want to do now is take your video and create a new composition right here. Now you want to make sure that the frame rate of the composition and the frame rate of your video is the same. So as you can see, my video here is 25 frames per second, and you can see when I select my composition here and come to composition settings, you can see the frame rate here is 25 frames per second. So if your frame rate is different from your video, the roto brush is not going to work. It's going to prompt and tell you that you need to fix that. So go ahead and to the composition setting and change the composition to match video settings. And the simple way to do that is by pre-composing. And pre-composing will not only help you match the frame rate of your composition, but also it will help you fix the video that you have trimmed to only to make the roto brush only analyze that section. Because if we say that we try to rotoscope this section that we have trimmed without pre-composing, the roto brush will actually start calculating every part that we have trimmed out, and that will make us take forever. So press Ctrl+Shift+C and move all attributes into the new composition. If you double click here on this composition, you will open up the video that's inside our pre-comp. So the best way to do that, in order to get yourself on the window that we are going to use to rotoscope, go ahead here and select the roto brush tool. Once you select the roto brush tool here, then when you go ahead and double click on your pre-compose, it will not open the video that's in the pre-compose, but it will open this window right here, which we are going to use for rotoscoping. The controls for the roto brush is when you click on Control and hold, and you click on your left mouse and drag, you can see you can change the size of the brush here to whatever size that you want. You can make it completely small, or you can make it as big as possible. So just choose the right size. Like I'm gonna choose this one. And before we do that, one thing that I almost forgot is we need to make the roto brush assess this video as easy as possible. And this is going to be simple if we add in some contrast in it. So I'm going to search in for curves here and add some curves here on my video. Wait, let me go back here, deselect the pre-compose, double click here, open up this window, put in some curves here. As you can see, I deselected the roto brush, and then I'm going to add some contrast here. And you can see if I add some contrast here, we can see the boundaries here behind this glass, right, and the background, and our subject here is pretty isolated from the background, and this will make it easier for the roto brush to analyze. And now go back. Remember, if you double click here without selecting the roto brush, you get back to this original layer, right? Select the roto brush tool here first, then double click so we can get back to this window. Now what you want to do right now is just draw around your subject on the areas that you want to rotoscope, because some people say that you draw across, but once you draw across, I see that it's tend to do some funny stuff, and then you go ahead and fix it with a lot of steps to go in. But if you like draw around like this, it's pretty simple. See, now we have this. Now if you can see, I want this part included, so I'm going to draw this part to make it included, but I do not want this part of the background here selected. So what I'm gonna do is click on Alt, and it will make the roto brush tool icon here red, which means it's negative. So I'm going to draw this part here of the background and deselect, and just go ahead on the first frame and make sure everything is perfectly selected. now I have that selected. Go ahead and do some little bit of settings here on our roto brush tool. The first thing is you want to select the roto brush 2.0, and if you have the roto brush 3.0, select the roto brush 3.0. Make the quality to best, and click on this propagation tool, right, and enable the classic controls here. It will help the AI do its thing, but also use the classic controls, which according to some people say that it's better. Now go ahead and press space on your keyboard. Now what's going to happen here is the roto brush tool is going to analyze this video and guess everything is for the rest of the video. So what I tend to do is I leave it do its thing, and then I go back and fix a couple of stuff that are a little bit messed up, because rotoscoping takes a lot of time. Some people can rotoscope for hours, some people can rotoscope for days, and it depends on the complexity of the video. And this is just a simple illustration to show you how the technicals go, but in terms of how difficult your project is going to be, that is depends on your actual project. Okay, as you can see, it's trying its level best here. There's an introduction here of the hand here, but it's trying its level best here to like do its stuff and guess where everything is for the rest of the video. And you can see here it's leaving some gaps here on a couple of frames, but we are gonna go back here and fix fix some of this here in these few frames. Now that it's done, it's showing us how this works. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to move forward to these frames here where there's she start pointing in the finger here and start fixing a couple of these. Now on your keyboard, if you press page up, you're going to go back, and if you press page down, it's going to go front. So I'm going to use these keys, page up and page down, to move, and then I'll keep on fixing frame by frame. So as you remember here, positive is green, and negative is you hold on Alt and it will turn red, and you can use that to isolate what you don't want to select. So I'll just keep on going back and forth here and selecting here, just like this, trying to fix a couple of these, and just make sure that everything is selected as we wanted. And I didn't notice here on the head here, we also had a glitch here on the head. I'm gonna try to fix that too. Yeah, that was a lot of work right there, though it's rough, but you get the point. Anyway, so in case you have a subject that has fluffy stuff like hair, or something, or fur or something, you need to select the refine edge tool before you start rotoscoping. So I forgot to tell you that, because my subject here doesn't have hair, but I'm gonna try it out here on the glass here. You can see my subject has glass here. So if you select the refine edge tool here and highlight places where you want to soften the roto brush, like if your subject has hair and that kind of stuff, just paint it over like this and let the rotoscope brush do its thing, and it will calculate here and give you the results. So I'm gonna let it calculate here, and we're gonna fix if there's any problem with it. Tumsokote katumbako, tumsokote katumbako, katumbako. So once you're happy with your rotoscope, go ahead and click on freeze here, and what it will do, it will actually freeze everything in place. Like, it doesn't have to go back and calculate everything once you're adding any effect or playing around with your video. It will help free up power in your in your system, in your editing system. So make sure you do that. Make sure you go back and freeze before doing anything else. And this is good because it doesn't affect the refine settings here. Once you freeze, you can still go back and refine your rotoscope here without unfreezing. But also, in case that you need to change anything in your rotoscope, you can just click freeze again, and then it will unfreeze, and then you can go fix it. And after you fix it, click freeze again, and it will freeze it back in place. Now that's done, let's go back and refine this rotoscope. So I'm gonna make this rotoscope a little bit softer. So the first thing you need to check out is these toggles down here. So right here you can toggle the alpha channel here, and everything that's white is actually visible, and everything that's black is actually invisible, and everything that's in between here, it's in between. The next one is this here. You can see, you can toggle the boundaries and see the boundaries of your rotoscope, and this one shows you an overlay of everything that is invisible. So here you can change the opacity of how much you want that to be. It can be 100%, it can be 50%, any number you like. But also you can change the color of the overlay here, if you want it red, if you want it green, you know, you can choose any color that you want. For now, I just like this red right here, and so we are going to use this one to like do some stuff. As you can see here, we have some boundaries here. On the roto brush mate here, you can change the feather. I'm gonna make this 15, and I'm going to decrease the contrast here to like 20, so I can make it more softer, you know, like decrease a bit more, like make it like 5. Just play around with this, and then I'm going to shift the edge here a little bit. Then I'm going to reduce chatter here to 100, and to stop the rotoscope from doing, you know, the freaky stuff, you know, just make it more rigid. Now here, down here, you can increase the smoothness here of the cuts here. And on the refine edge here, refining the edge here, you can see that it wants us to unfreeze. So I'm going to unfreeze this and let it do that. And here you have an option to refine the edge mate here, and the edge mate, as you can see, right, this is our matte right here, this white stuff, okay, and the edges, this is the edges right here, and this is what we are using to refine. As if you increase the smoothness, you know, you can increase the smoothness to like 20. Just make sure this refine edge matte check mark is in check here, and can increase the smoothness here to like 10, and increase the feather here maybe to 3 here. I'm going to leave the contrast like that, maybe shift the edge a little bit inside by negative 10. And all these settings that I'm putting in here, the settings that you play around and try to find out by yourself, you know. And I'm gonna make it more smoother here and see how this works here. Now I'm going to change it back to the overlay here and see how it works here. And we're going to reduce chatter here, maybe something like that. And now, if we move forward in time here on the hands, I want to show you something. As you can see on our video here, once I tend to move this around, there was some kind of motion blur here on the fingers as she was moving this around. So the rotoscope can be challenged when it comes to rotoscoping parts that have motion blur. So you have an option here to check use motion blur, and once you do that, it will detect it everywhere with motion blur in your video, and try to fix that for you, and try to add in some motion blur so it can be more realistic when it comes to the cuts and when it comes to the rotoscoping. Now here you do have an option to decontaminate edge colors, and this is used if let me say you are using a green screen and you want to rotoscope something, and you see like the green screen light has been casted upon your subject, and now on the edges here you do have some kind of weird stuff going on here, weird colors. You can decontaminate those colors, and rotoscope will try to do its best to decontaminate. But and once we have done some couple of settings and try to decontaminate something, sometimes it comes up with some weird stuff. Like, let me show you. You see, like it brings these weird boundaries and stuff. So just be careful when using that. You can try playing around here with the settings, but I'm not going to use that. So, you know, just investigate that on yourself, and if you like it, you can use it, but not a fan of that one. So that's what we got. We're gonna go ahead here and freeze our roto. Tum sokoteka tumbako, tum sokoteka tumbako. Now that's done freezing, let's go back to our main composition here, and you can see it has done its thing. Now deselect the roto brush tool here so you can get into this composition here and delete the curves because we don't need it anymore. Okay, now we don't need it anymore. Now we have here our subject here. Now you can see here we didn't see some stuff here like this right here. So I'm gonna go right now and type in and I'm going to take the matte choker here, effect, and it's going to help me clean out this stuff that's messed up here. Like, as you can see now, the matte choker has done a really good job, but you can still go ahead and play around with the settings here and fix this. Now our subject here is transparent. If I toggle on transparency here, you can see it's transparent, and now you can play it back and see how it looks. Now that you have your rotoscope ready, you can go ahead and add some cool effects like I did on this video right here.